What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Um, Finally getting around to doing my second decade album ranking, however you want to call it. Last time I had a video, I don't remember what video it was, but I mentioned in the video that I would probably do 80s Slayer albums for the next decade video, and we're finally here. Day off and got a little motivated, so let's get right into it. 4 Slayer albums released in the 80s. The debut, well, 4 full lengths. They did have the EP, Haunting the Chapel. I'm not counting EPs in this ranking. So you had Show No Mercy, which was released in 1983. Hell Awaits in 85. Rain and Blood in 86. And then finally in 88 you had South of Heaven. So the first album is my number 4, Show No Mercy. And this isn't to slight this album, putting it last. I mean, you've got the obvious, pretty much always played live tracks. You got the Antichrist, Die by the Sword, Black Magic, which I think pretty much, I got to see them 3 times, twice with my wife, and I think all 3 times they played all 3 of those songs. But you got some really good songs on here that don't get as much attention, like Evil Has No Boundaries, Fight Till Death, Tormentor, The Final Command, Cryonics. But this is kind of, so they really went into some stages, as most bands really do. Their debut album, I thought, was really more new wave of British heavy metal oriented. Bands like Iron Maiden, and I think there was a bit of Saxon kind of in there as well. As far as like the music was concerned, it was really kind of that late 70s, early 80s British kind of sound. Moving on to my number 3, probably would be most people's number 1, Rain and Blood from 1986. I mean, who doesn't know Angel of Death, Altar of Sacrifice? You got obviously Raining Blood, the sort of kind of title track. But I think songs like Piece by Piece and Criminally Insane and Postmortem, Reborn are all fantastic songs. This to me was their stage where they were really honing in on adding punk to what they were doing at the time. I think around this time, I think is when Jeff Hanneman, who was the punk of the band, he was really a big influence on the band, especially Kerry King, who really didn't think that punk made a whole lot of sense. He really turned Kerry on to punk, and I think with the shorter songs and kind of that punk energy shows on this album. Number 2, their second full length, Hell Awaits. So they go from being more of a new wave of British heavy metal kind of copycat style, not completely, obviously. They didn't sound like any of those bands completely. To this is kind of more in tune of like their Merciful Fate stage as far as songwriting. They got more progressive in what they were doing. Fantastic album, only 7 tracks. If they had waited to put the songs that would go on Haunting the Chapel onto this record, I would probably have it as number 1. That's how good of an album is. But, obviously the title track, Hell Awaits, At Dawn They Sleep, Praise of Death, Hardening the Arteries, Crypts of Eternity, just a fantastic album all the way through. And then, last but not least, South of Heaven. So this album would probably be third on most people's list of the Slayer 80s albums, because it's not the fastest, obviously. But I don't necessarily think that has to, equate to being a good Slayer album. I mean, they had some really good grooves in some of these songs. And my favorite song on the album is probably the fastest song on the album, Silent Scream, just because, you know, not just because it's fast, but also more because of the lyrical content. More, in my estimation, what I get from listening to the song, it's an anti-abortion song. But you got the title track, and Mandatory Suicide played quite a bit whenever they play live. A Dissident Aggressor, I was very interested. I would be interested to know why it was the cover song that they chose if they're choosing Priest songs, given the fact that this is '88, so by that time, I don't know if this came out before Ram It Down or not, but let's just say it didn't. By that time they've had 10 full-length studio albums Priest had. So choosing your Priest song and then choosing that song, and I believe it's the only cover song they ever put on one of their studio albums. But I think there's really some great stuff going on with Live Undead, Behind the Crooked Cross, Ghosts of War, which I don't know why Jeff hates that song so much. I mean, he wrote the song. I mean, maybe he just didn't think it was as strong as it was. I like it a lot. And I think a lot of Slayer fans like the song, including Hatebreed, because they put that on their first covers album, For the Lions. I don't know if they ever got a chance to put their second one out or not. And then Spill the Blood's a really kind of reminds me a lot of Seasons in the Abyss, which would be the final track on the follow-up, entitled Seasons in the Abyss. But this is a really good album. It's not my favorite overall Slayer album. That would be the following album, Seasons in the Abyss, because I think it took this album and the previous album, Rain and Blood, and really kind of melded the two styles that they had going on there to me to make the perfect Slayer album. But that's my ranking of the 1980s Slayer's albums. So I'd be interested to hear what everybody else's ranking would be. Be really cool if anybody decided to do a video doing these rankings. But anyway, that's what I've got for my ranking. Hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to hearing everybody's responses. Thank you and God bless.